R-Truth never chased after main events. He never begged for title shots, but he stayed longer than most wrestlers who did. While others kept fighting for the spotlight, he figured out how to stay valuable without ever needing to be on top. It wasn't an accident. He saw how things worked early and made a decision most wrestlers never think to make. He didn't try to be the face of the company. He chose to be the guy the company could never get rid of. From day one, he had the tools. He could wrestle. He had charisma. He could talk better than half the roster. But instead of getting caught in the cycle of start and stop pushes, backstage politics, and broken promises, he leaned into whatever they gave him and flipped it. They handed him a fake belt with no meaning. He turned it into one of the most entertaining parts of the show. They wrote him into throwaway segments. He made them the most replayed parts of the night. He didn't take himself too seriously, but he took the job seriously. That's the part people miss. It wasn't just about being funny. It was about showing up, doing exactly what was needed, and leaving people smiling. WWE never had to second-guess putting R-Truth on screen. They knew what they were getting, and that kind of reliability became rare. He never injured people. He never stirred up drama. He didn't talk trash about the company online. He kept to himself, did the job, and left. That's why they always kept him around. That's why they brought him back every time they thought he was done. Because when other guys start getting difficult, or when shows start dragging, R-Truth is the emergency button they know always works. Some people thought the comedy gimmick buried him. They said he could have been more if they gave him something serious. But he knew how WWE worked. He knew most serious pushes don't last. People get pushed, fail once, and disappear. Instead of waiting for that to happen, he turned the comedy into something only he could pull off. He made it so no one else could take that role from him. That's how you last 20 years without burning out. He turned the 24/7 title into something people actually cared about. Not because the title meant anything, but because he made it fun. He chased it through hotel lobbies, airplanes, parking lots, and weddings, and people watched. Every week, clips of his segments went viral. Not because of the belt, but because of him. The title wasn't over. He was. And the title just got to ride his momentum. He also made sure he never got in the way. When a big feud needed space, he didn't overstep. When new talent showed up, he helped them look good. He lost without complaining. He showed up without warning. He made people laugh in the middle of boring episodes. And he kept doing it long after most people would have quit or complained. He worked with everyone. John Cena, The Miz Brock Lesnar, a Jay Styles, Otis. It didn't matter if it was the biggest name or a rookie from NXT. He adjusted to whoever he was in the ring with. He didn't slow them down. He didn't outshine them. He just made the whole thing smoother. When you wrestle R-Truth, your match gets easier. Your segment feels better. And the crowd reacts, even if they weren't paying attention before. He's been used in backstage promos, commercials, pay-per-views, house shows, random run-ins, and even Royal Rumble surprises. And every time, he gets a pop. Because people aren't reacting to the push. They're reacting to the man. R-Truth built trust with fans. That's something most guys lose quickly. One bad storyline, and people stop caring. But with R-Truth, they always know what they're getting. And they always want more. He didn't avoid serious storylines because he couldn't do them. He avoided them because he didn't need them. He already had something that worked. And WWE knew it too. That's why, even after cutting dozens of people, they kept calling him back. Even after long absences, they gave him screen time. Not as a favor, as a necessity. He figured out how to become irreplaceable. Not because he was unbeatable, not because he was the most dominant, but because nobody else could do what he did, with the same timing, delivery, and consistency. That's what made him valuable. Most wrestlers chase one big moment. R-Truth created 1,000 small ones. And they added up to a career that most guys would trade for in a second. He's never needed a title to stay relevant. Even when he won one, the belt never changed how fans saw him. People didn't react because he was champion. They reacted because he was R-Truth. The segment was good because he was in it, not because it had stakes. That kind of connection is rare in wrestling. You can't script that. It's built over years of consistency. There was a stretch of time where he wasn't even wrestling every week. He wasn't part of major storylines, but when WWE didn't know what to do, they turned to him. The match didn't need to matter. The result didn't matter. His job was to fill a gap, entertain, and reset the crowd's energy. And somehow, he did that better than half the roster fighting for serious screen time. Even during the pandemic era, when crowds disappeared and shows felt cold, his segments still got a reaction online. That's not normal. Most gimmicks only work with a crowd. Most characters fall flat when the energy is missing, but he kept the tone alive through a camera lens. That's not luck, that's skill. He turned repetition into a feature. He could run the same joke for months and fans still laughed. He could chase the same title 100 times and nobody groaned. Every time felt a little different because he knew how to adjust it just enough. Most guys burn out in a few months doing the same thing. He kept his act fresh for years without needing a reinvention. It's also important to notice, he never fell into the trap of bitterness. A lot of guys hit 40 and the tone changes. They want that one last push. They start cutting shoot promos, complaining on podcasts, hinting at retirement stories to try and grab sympathy. R-Truth didn't do any of that. He stayed the same. No sudden heel turn, no last chance run, no fake retirement speeches, just steady, consistent work. When he had a chance to get serious, he did. During that short feud with The Miz back in the day, he showed a darker side. And he pulled it off. Fans believed it. But he didn't beg WWE to keep pushing it. He read the room. When they shifted directions, he didn't force anything. He just adapted and moved on. That's why there's never been a story about him complaining backstage. No reports of him politicking for a better spot. No rumors about him burying others to get ahead. He didn't need that. He found value without stepping on anyone. And the locker room respects him for that. Every wrestler that's worked with him has praised him. Even guys who don't do many interviews mention him. Because they know, when you work with R-Truth, the job gets easier. You don't have to carry the segment. You don't have to overthink it. He takes care of the pacing, the timing, the reactions, and he makes sure you look good in the process. He also knows when to disappear. That's a skill too. Not overstaying. Not forcing yourself into segments. Not being the guy who shows up just to be seen. He lets the company decide when he's needed. And when he returns, he picks up right where he left off. That's rare. WWE tried letting him go once, and within months they brought him back. They didn't even wait a full cycle. Because once the laughs started missing and the holes started showing, they realized he wasn't filler. He was essential. Not in a headline role, not in a merch-selling way, but in the structure of the show itself. A show without R-Truth just felt less alive. That's how you beat the system. Not by fighting for what everyone else wants, but by building something that only you can do. Even now, past 50, he's still getting reactions most 25-year-olds wish they could get. He walks out, says one line, and the whole crowd is with him. He could leave the company tomorrow and still come back 5 years later to a pop. Not because of nostalgia, but because people genuinely enjoy him. He doesn't treat WWE like a stepping stone. He treats it like a home. That mindset changed how people see him. He's not a guy who failed to get pushed. He's a guy who found success in a way nobody else thought of. He made the silly work. He made the dumb bits iconic. And he turned being underestimated into his biggest strength. No one else on the roster can do what R-Truth does. No one else has his timing, his delivery, or his instinct. That's not something you can teach at the Performance Center. That comes from experience, confidence, and knowing exactly what works and what doesn't. He might not be remembered as the greatest wrestler ever. He might not headline a Hall of Fame ceremony. But behind the scenes, people know WWE wouldn't have run as smooth without him. That's not an opinion, that's reality. For 2 decades, when the show needed a fix, when a segment flopped, when the mood dropped, R-Truth was the answer.